Yes, I have pulled out the whiteboard again, but first I'm gonna lob some shade at the American education system because I have just spent the last 3 days explaining to hundreds, if not thousands of you guys exactly how a bill becomes law in this country, and I didn't even grow up here. So here are the basics. We have 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, judicial, and all 3 branches are owned by mega donors. By the way, shout out to Miss Reynolds, my middle school social studies teacher and School of Rock. Executive branch, president. Legislative, Congress. Judicial, Supreme Court. We have a system of what they like to call checks and balances, where each branch keeps the other 2 in check and balances them out. More like donor checks and bank balances, am I right? The system by which these 2 are elected doesn't really matter all that much. What you really need to know is who owns them, and that's right, the highest bidder. These guys select these guys. This guy nominates, these guys vote, and then once these are confirmed, that's when their auction begins. But what we're talking about today are bills. The legislative branch, or Congress, is made up of 2 parts: the House of Representatives, a name chosen ironically, and the Senate. A bill can be introduced in either one of these, and then it is voted on. Usually the bill is developed in a smaller committee, though of course often written by these guys. If a bill passes in one of these institutions, it gets passed to the other one, who then gets to vote on that same bill. A bill passes with a simple majority, so why do you keep hearing people talk about 2/3? Well, in the House of Representatives, debate time is limited. Everyone's allotted a certain amount of time and they get cut off, and that's it. In the Senate, however, debate is unlimited, which is where you hear about filibusters. Basically, someone yaps a bill to death. They run out the clock by talking. This can waste a lot of time, which we all know Congress loves to do. So there's a rule in the Senate where if you get 2/3 of the vote, you get what's called cloture. No, not what happens to old milk. Just a rule that says you gotta zip it. No more filibustering. Once a bill is voted on and passes in both of these institutions, it gets sent to the executive branch, which we all know is the president. And he or she, but let's be real, he signs it into law by putting his big old John Hancock on it. That's a founding father reference. What happens if the president doesn't sign it into law? They veto it. This is a red veto stamp. Boonk. Does that mean it's dead? No. If a president vetoes a bill, it gets sent back to the chamber it originated in, with the equivalent of like a post-it note saying why they vetoed it. The originating chamber can then make some changes if they want to, vote again, and if it wins by a 2/3 majority, it becomes law. So where's the TikTok ban bill at? It is not yet law. It just passed in the House of Representatives. Again, the name is ironic. Now the bill is being sent to the Senate. They might make some tweaks, make it their own before the Senate Majority Leader gets to pick whether or not it gets voted on in the Senate. It can pass with a simple majority, but someone might choose to yap it to death. So you really want a 2/3 majority in the Senate. Is it required? No, but it really helps things. If the Senate votes to pass it, it will then get sent to the president's desk. President Biden has already stated he will sign it into law if it passes in Congress. Even if he were to veto the bill, it would then get sent back to the House of Representatives. But on their initial vote, they had well more than 2/3 of the vote, so it would be very likely to become law. So we're putting a hell of a lot of faith on these guys. Thanks, mega donors.